Hey everybody, I'm Chris and I'm the founder of Luki Bike Adventures, and I am working with this wheel today. Couple things happening with it, but let me just show you. Yeah. See that? How it's it's not straight. It's kind of wobbling all over the place, right? It's not exactly how you want a wheel to go. If you can't, it's kind of doing this more like a snake, less like a wheel, which is not what we want. So it is something that's very normal that happens, all the time. You need to true your wheels. You can hit a pothole or break a spoke or the rim gets bent or whatever, and that's actually what the spokes do. The spokes allow you to straighten your wheel out. So these guys are under tension, and this guy here, that's called a nipple, and that's the spoke, and there's the rim. And by tightening or loosening this, you put more or less tension on the spoke, and you tighten it, and the spoke on this side will pull, and it will pull the rim in this little spot right here, like right around there. It'll pull it this way. Whereas if you loosen it, it will actually push it the other way. So if your spoke or sort of the rim is bent that way, it's bending this way, you can loosen the spoke on this side and it'll push it that way, and simultaneously tighten the spoke on that side and it'll just kind of balance out and turn things that way. Additionally, the spoke can, if it's got some hop to it, and so it's kind of going up and down like that. Same thing, you can either loosen these spokes on both sides and that'll push the rim outward that way, or you can tighten them up and bring it in that way and make it more round. So that's kind of what happened there. The spokes, they're not just holding the wheel together, they're holding it in a perfect circle, I guess you could say. So there's that aspect to it. So we need to go through and figure out which spokes need to be straightened out, tightened, loosened, whatever. But in addition to that, there's quite a bit of, do you see that? Right here. If I take this, the whole thing kind of moves in and out. And that you don't want. That's also, so this axle is very loose in here. There's not supposed to be any, you can hear the noise, you can see the wobble. That's not supposed to be happening. So it's entirely possible that the axle is bent. It could be that there's the play here that's causing the wobble. It could also be that the rim is bent and that's causing the wobble. Some spokes could be broken or whatever. But it's most likely a combination of all three. So one thing you can do is just kind of go through and squeeze the spokes, and it may become very obvious if you find a set that are really loose, or one that, like, oh man, I'm having a hard time grabbing them like this. There we go. It could be, you might be able to feel something that is like those right here. These two right here feel very loose compared to the others, but realistically looking for one that's like cracked and like really, really loose, and so for none of these are. So that's good. We don't have to replace any spokes. All right, so then the next thing is this guy. So we need to, basically we gotta take this off of here, which I'm pretty sure that I have. Oh man, yeah, that's so loose. It's not even, it's just like I can just unloosen it It's just finger tight. So I'm going to open this up here. See what we're dealing with. Taking forever to unscrew this. The rest of my life doing this, apparently. Alright. So now, looking at this guy, we have this race here. And you want to examine this and make sure there's no cracks, there's no dents, there's no damage. And there actually doesn't really appear to be any. It seems to be perfectly fine and undamaged. So that's good. It's quite good. Alright, set those down. And now I can just pull that out. And while there is pretty much no grease in here whatsoever, I mean, that is completely dry, the bearings themselves do not appear to be damaged. Like, they look fine. Which is not what I expected to see. I thought this was going to be a total mess. Now, in here, I also want to examine that. And again, it's completely dry. It looks like maybe there was some grease that has dried up, but I don't see any cracks or corrosion or anything, really. Like, it looks fine. So now I'm going to have to take this off to take a look at the other side. So let me grab the tool for that. So depending, dang it. You may have there's a few different versions of this, so depending on which one you have, you may need a different kind. I believe these two are basically the same. But basically, you're just gonna put that in there like so. And it's on there. And then I'm going to grab my breaker bar and a 1-inch and then I'm just going to go like this, and hopefully, dang it. I was just about to say, hopefully it won't take too much effort. Of course it does. Of course it will. It's going to take all the effort. I mean, I can hope it's not going to take too much effort. Oh, why won't it stay on? Why won't you stay on today? Alright, let's see. Man, it's not going to be easy for me. I don't want to put it directly on the ground because I don't want to, since it doesn't have a tire, damage the rim. Why won't this stay on? What is the deal? Right, let's see. There we go. Phew. This is a bit grimy and rusty, but it seems to work fine, honestly. Alright. So this side does seem to have at least a little grease on it. Does not look obviously damaged. Alright, cool. So now all we have to do is clean this up. I'm going to look at that axle to see, make sure that's not bent. Hopefully it isn't. Clean that out some, and you know, I'll finish cleaning that out later. Let's take a look at this axle. And usually you can just kind of spin it and see if there's a it doesn't look bad to me. It's easier to do it like on a counter or something like that that's flat as opposed to your hand. Doesn't look bad to me, actually. Especially if it's only a little bit bent. If it's just a tiny bit, I'm going to keep using it. This doesn't look bad to me. Just because I don't have spare axles, really. I don't have spare axles. I do have more wheels, but they're kind of all in questionable condition. So if this is salvageable, then I'd much rather try to salvage it. And I think this is. It does not look bad to me at all. And these bearings are in good shape. Now I do have extra bearings. So even if these weren't in good shape, I could just replace the bearings and we would be fine. All right. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to stop here. So we got this apart, and I think the next thing I'm going to do is clean it up real good. there's really a good way to tell. Like, I can't really spin it well with that. But yeah, I think the next thing I'm going to do is clean this up real good, which I don't think I'm going to do on video. I'm going to really take a look at this frame, make sure there's no cracks in it. Or sorry, not frame, his rim. And then I'm going to put it back together, and then we can go ahead and try to true this baby up and see how it does. I do have some spare nipples if need be, because like I'm looking at some of these, like that one's pretty rusty. It's pretty easy for these to become rounded, so if I run into some issues there, hopefully the nipples I have will work with these. Boy, we got quite a bit of rust here. If we look, if we move this little rim tape or rim strip, it's looking pretty rough. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this, how it goes. That is a lot of rust here. Well, I'll think about this. I might look at other wheels as well. So we'll see. I don't know. I might put a few drops of oil in, see how easily these guys turn, if it's going to be problematic. If so, actually, let's just see. How well do these guys turn? So these are spoke wrenches. They come in different sizes. Seems like red is the most common. No, that one turned without any issue. That one's turning all right too. Okay, so maybe this might be doable. This might be doable. The popping noises, they're not breaking or anything, like that's fine. You often get, their spokes are often noisy as you are truing them and whatnot. So these are actually, yeah, they're turning without any issue. So, you know, we're going to give it a go. We'll see what we can do with this. All right, like and subscribe if this video is helpful to you or interesting in kind of way. And we'll come back with part 2 and do the next thing. All right, thanks for watching.